everyone, and welcome back to For All Humans. Did you know that the Qur'an is a holy book memorized flawlessly by millions in its original Arabic text, and that most who memorize it aren't even Arabs? Hamza Yusuf recounts a funny story when asked how many people memorize the Qur'an. He says that in Mecca during Hajj, there are millions of people, and if the Imam who leads the prayer makes a mistake in his recitation, you can hear the masses correcting him. Can you imagine millions of people memorizing every single word in a book? How is this even possible? Well, in this episode, we will explain why Muslims recite and memorize the Qur'an. We will leave you to reflect on how they do it, because if anything, we believe it is both a blessing and a miracle from God. Muslims are keen on memorizing the Qur'an for several reasons. It is essential for every pious Muslim to memorize at least a few chapters in the Qur'an. During the daily prayers, one of the 5 pillars of Islam, a Muslim has to recite the opening chapter, Al-Fatiha, followed by a few verses from any of the Qur'an's 114 chapters. This daily recitation helps Muslims memorize portions of the Qur'an and encourages the most pious to memorize even more. There are also many rewards and honors for Muslims who recite and memorize the Qur'an. For one, they find it a source of great blessing. It is believed a Muslim will be highly rewarded for the number of verses of the Qur'an memorized during his or her lifetime. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The one who is devoted to the Qur'an will be told on the day of resurrection, recite and ascend in ranks as you used to recite when you were in the world. Your rank will be at the last ayah you recite." A greater source of merit and blessing for Muslims is in studying and understanding the principles and precepts of the Qur'an. But if the Qur'an is revealed in its original Arabic language, does this not put non-Arabic speakers at a disadvantage when it comes to attaining rewards in the hereafter? The Prophet encourages Muslims who are proficient in Arabic, as well as those struggling, to recite the Qur'an to keep on practicing their recitation. In a hadith, the Prophet said, "Verily the one who recites the Qur'an beautifully, smoothly, and precisely will be in the company of the noble and obedient angels. And as for the one who recites it with difficulty, stammering or stumbling through its verses, then he will have twice that reward." Yes, you heard that right. Twice the reward. If anything, this hadith encourages new Muslims in their struggle to recite the Arabic text of the Qur'an and gives them an advantage over proficient Arabic speakers who find it much less challenging to recite and memorize its verses. There are also several rewards in this life. It was narrated that Abdullah ibn Umar said, "When the first immigrants came to Quba before the messenger came to Medina, Salim, the freed slave of Abu Hudayfa, used to lead them in prayer, as he was the one who knew the most Qur'an. So, at a time when slavery was commonplace, reciting and memorizing the Qur'an was deemed a qualification for leadership." The memorizer of the Qur'an is also mentioned alongside a just ruler. It was narrated that the Prophet said, "Part of showing glory to Allah is to show respect to a white-haired Muslim and a carrier of the Qur'an who does not exaggerate in it nor ignore it, and a just ruler." Muslims are also encouraged to recite and memorize the Qur'an as it brings them tranquility and inner peace. Reciting the Qur'an is a form of dhikr. Dhikr is a meditation practice which transports the mind and soul to a place of peace and tranquility. The Prophet says, "The man who has nothing of the Qur'an inside him is like a ruined house." In several verses of the Qur'an, Allah mentions the healing, peacefulness, and tranquility the Qur'an brings to its reciters. Verse 82 of Surah Al-Isra states, "We send the Qur'an as healing and mercy for those who believe." And in Surah Al-Ra'd, verse 28, God says, "Verily in the remembrance of Allah do the hearts find rest." Last but not least, a Muslim who memorizes the Qur'an not only honors him or herself, but also his or her parents. There are several hadiths mentioning that on the Day of Judgment, the reciter's parents will be given a crown, whose light will be like the light of the sun, and his parents will be given garments which far surpass anything to be found in this world.
If you liked what you saw, please remember to like, comment, share, and let us know what you think in the comment section below. See you all next time.